Hey you, it's Reese, and we are back with another prophetic word. This is another 4 words and 1. Take all of these words back to the Lord. Make sure they are a word from Him. Make sure they are words for you, and they're words for you in the season that you're in. Again, take all these words back to the Lord. None of them could be for you. All of them could be for you. 1 or 2 may be for you. So take these back to the Lord. If I'm speaking a little low, I apologize. I'm trying not to wake people up because it's too cold to go down to the car today. All right, but I hope you all are having a blessed morning and that you are up early with the Lord, spending time with Him like David and Jesus. All right, so the first word we have is incognito. Incognito, and that word means, sorry, let me get rid of some of these apps. Okay, and what that word means is one appearing or living incognito, the state or assumed identity of one living or traveling incognito. And I just want to read something really quick. This is in from Merriam-Webster dictionary. I just found it very interesting that this was under the definition of incognito. It says the ancient Romans knew that there are times when you don't want to be recognized. For example, a story in Ovid's Metamorphoses tells how Jupiter and Mercury visited a village incognito and asked for lodging. The supposedly penniless travelers were turned away from every household except that of a poor elderly couple. The pair provided a room and a feast for the visitors despite their own poverty. The Romans had a word that described someone or something unknown, like the gods in the tale, which is incognitus, a term that is the ancestor of our modern incognito. I just find it very funny. You know how Satan tries to imitate everything the Father does. So these travelers moving incognito sound a lot like the disciples from the Bible. And actually one of them I'm going to use the story for in reference to give you more of an example in Bible when it comes to this word and what the Father is saying. But yeah, I just thought it was hilarious, that story from the Roman gods and stuff. And as disciples, we are called to leave and take very little. Jesus even told it. Disciples, don't take extra, take a pair of sandals, a couple other things. I think he told them a staff. But basically, you move in God's strength and you depend on Him, and He sends people or sends you to people that will provide, which is His provision. A lot of people think, oh, well, God's providing for you. Why do I need to help? Because you're His provision. He's using you. He uses us to accomplish His things, His will down here on earth. Read the book of Acts. You'll get better understanding. But yeah, so incognito, let me see. It's just using a false name or wearing a disguise in order not to be recognized or identified. Just moving in silence, like your whereabouts are unknown. You're unknown. People just don't know you. And so what the Father is saying is move in silence and don't make noise. God is moving you closer to your promised land. So He's either moving you somewhere or moving you closer to your promised land, closer to the promise or promises, closer to your elevation, Whatever the case is, whatever the situation is for you, he is moving you closer to that thing or that place or that person or those people. And he is wanting you to move in silence. Be incognito. An example of that is the spies Joshua sent into Canaan to check out the land. So they moved in silence. They were incognito when he sent them out. And where's that story? Dang it, I think I exited out of it. Anyway, the spies Joshua sent to check out the promised land, they were sent there incognito. Rahab is actually the one that helped them get out of the land because it was found out that they were there. But they were to go to scope out the land and see, who the giants were that they needed to slay and, just scope out the land. So that's what the Father is saying right now. For some of you in this season, in this hour, he needs you moving incognito. The next word is juxtaposition. Juxtaposition, and that word means the act of placing two or more things side by side to highlight their differences or similarities. An example in literature, juxtaposition can be as simple as a turn of phrase like all's fair in love and war, or you're making a mountain out of a molehill. In the Bible, it's supposed to be the fact of two things being seen or placed close together with contrasting effect. It is unusual but significant prophetic word for us at this time. Beloved, my power is resting on you. And that's a Bible example of juxtaposition. And what God is saying with this word is he's allowing the placement or is placing things or people side by side to be observed. Part of his reasons for doing this is for vindication for some and judgment for others. So like for example, the prophets of Baal, Elijah was used to, God put Elijah side by side to the prophets of Baal to expose the real prophet versus the false prophets, and the real God and their fake little g God. This goes for counterfeits, and this isn't just counterfeit people like counterfeit spouses or kingdom spouses. This is also counterfeit, supposedly destiny helpers, counterfeit friends, counterfeit connections that you could think you're being aligned with someone that God sent, and it could be a counterfeit from the enemy. So it's people, places, or things, but God is placing things and or people, environments, situations side by side to expose those things and or people. The saints versus the ain'ts, as Jackie Perry would say. He's putting the remnant, the ones that he has called to walk this walk in its totality, leaving everything and everyone behind as he guides us to, because with this walk you are to leave things behind. The Father will have you leave things and or people behind, either permanently or temporarily. So the actual Christ followers versus the people that call themselves Christians that say they love Christ. He's putting us side by side, those things side by side, so the real can come out and the fake can be exposed. The next word is zealous. And zealous means fervent, fiery, ardent. devout, passionate, devoted, committed, dedicated, enthusiastic, eager, sincere, wholehearted, earnest, vigorous, energetic, purposeful. And so what the Father is saying when it comes to this word is some of us need to get into prayer. We need to make sure in our quiet time with the Lord that we are seeking his face, that we are spending much time in the secret place. Some of this word is for everyone, but especially those that are in transition, especially those that are coming out of the wilderness, especially those that are about to walk into their promised land. You're going to have to spend a more significant amount of time with the Father, and pray to get your fire back. If you are experiencing burnout, if you're experiencing not wavering in your faith or your thoughts, but just kind of a defeated sense of state of being, or you're not saying or feeling defeated, but you're giving very little to what he's called you to do, either out of your own will or, spiritual warfare, because the enemy can make you, can attack you in ways to make you start feeling depressed, to make you start doubting, if you're doing things right, if you're doing things good, the brain fog, mental clarity, just kind of feeling unaware of stuff, or like you're losing your mind, going crazy. Those are also all attacks from the enemy. So the Father is saying you need to be sending prayers up to get the fire back. Ask God to take you back to the basics, back to your first love, which is him, where you were on fire for him. Don't grow weary in your well-doing. And that's from Galatians 6:9. And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. So the Father is saying, send your prayers up so that you are seeking his face and to get your fire back. He needs you to get your fire back. Ephemeral. Ephemeral is the last word, and this word means transitory, transient, fleeting, passing, short-lived, momentary, brief, short, temporary, short-term. And what the Father is saying with this, because I've been getting a lot of emails, and in the subject line or somewhere in the email, it'll say, brief, or this is brief, or this will be brief. So he's been giving me a lot of this will be brief, it'll be brief type of words. And he's referring to a few different things. The transition, if you guys are in transition to your promised land, that those circumstances, that the warfare that you're experiencing, all that stuff will be short-lived. It'll be brief. The storm that you are possibly going through or that is about to hit, that'll be brief. The pain of the betrayal, the pain after the exposure, not your exposure if you are one that has been walking with the Father, but the exposure of those around you. Those exposures can do harm to you as well, but it'll be brief. The situation, the last part of your transition process, it will be brief. It'll be brief, short-lived, momentary. So for those of you that are feeling like it's never going to end, it just feels like a never-ending story. I know you keep hearing words, you're close, or you're closer than you think, and you're crossing over, you're landing, and you're just like, I'm over it. I've been hearing this for I don't know how long. It's going to be short-lived. It'll be brief. That pain will be brief. The betrayal of that, or the pain from the betrayal will be brief. Your transition will be brief. The living situation that you might be in or about to be in before your transition into the promised land, it'll be brief. God is saying it will be brief. Okay? All right. So that is all I got for you on this word. Again, take these words back to the Lord. Make sure they are Him, or words from Him, words for you, and words for you in the season that you are in. Okay? Until next time, remember, God loved you then. No matter what you did back then, He loves you now. No matter what you're doing now, and He'll love you in the future. No matter what you do in the future, God loves you. And He calls you righteous, so stay righteous. And if you ain't righteous, for the love of God, get righteous, because not every day is promised to you. All right, you guys have a blessed one. I'm out. Bye.